People can come to the Restore and get doors and tables like these at reduced prices. Doors and tables that would be in a landfill without this place and its volunteers. This entire casket, except for the metal screws, is biodegradable, including the bed sheets and the pillowcases, which are all made out of wood fiber. The people behind me are preparing to ride for 90 miles. That will take them 8.5 hours to get through the Live Strong ride. Many people across the nation are buying home fitness DVDs like P90X in hopes that it will turn this into this.
Texas fight, and we'll hope for one more win. To say the Texas Longhorns are struggling this season would be more than an understatement. At 4-6, the Horns are having the worst season ever under Coach Mack Brown. And businesses around campus are feeling the losses in their pocketbooks. The University Co-op has seen a downturn in game day foot traffic all season, and these effects translate to the street vendors right outside.
Business was really well for me, and the crowds on the sidewalk seemed a lot larger than they are now.
Last season, the Horns were undefeated until their BCS championship loss to Alabama. This season, Texas is fighting to just make a bowl game.
Last year at this point before the game, we'd be probably 3 or 4 more times the people. It's a little more difficult. People like winners, and better for worse, we're having a bad year.
Nathan Mayer sells rivalry and joke t-shirts on the drag. And though business is slow, he knows he will always have customers.
But I think there's tradition, and people are proud of their school regardless of how the team is doing.
And all over Austin, whether it's just for business or school pride, fans want to see one thing.
We all want the Longhorns to win.
So if anyone is wondering when the best time to buy cheap tickets to UT football, 2010 is your answer. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Garrett.
2, 1.
The annual Live Strong Challenge, started by Austinite Lance Armstrong, traveled to Austin last weekend for its final stop of the year.
It's not often you get to carry and walk around with $1 million checks. Yeah, that's $1 million, but to Live Strong.
Riders from all over the country and outside the country attended the fundraiser. Brian McGregor and 150 other Canadians rode their bikes 8 days from Calgary to Austin. McGregor knows that the event is not only to help people with cancer, but it also helps them after cancer.
I was done my treatment in January, but my mind wasn't back recovered yet. And I needed an event like the Live Strong event, or at that time it was the Ride for Roses, to get my turning point and to gain back control of my life.
Colleen Legg works with Team Live Strong and says that this challenge is what participants make of it.
We don't define what this event is for someone, but we give them the ability to make that path for themselves.
The event includes an expo, a walk downtown, and a bike ride in Dripping Springs.
The people behind me are preparing to ride for 90 miles. That will take them 8.5 hours to get through the Live Strong ride.
Carlos Garcia had his leg removed due to cancer, but the setback didn't kill his dreams, only changed them.
My big long-term goal is, hopefully to make Paralympics one day, but this year taking on the 90 miles on Sunday.
Live Strong Austin 2010 raised $3 million for cancer research and provided a weekend for cancer survivors they will never forget. Garrett Sanders, Texas News.
Team not dead yet. You guys have got it going on. Not dead yet. Thanks for being here.
Dave, we were talking about some of our team.
Students in Austin shouldn't have a hard time finding volunteer work. According to the Austin Business Journal, the city ranks low in teenage and college volunteering. One volunteer program not hurting is the medical field. Kelly Smith is the program director of the Volunteer Healthcare Clinic.
The clinic is very, very lucky in the fact that we don't have to recruit as much as other organizations do. We have such a huge pool of UT students that are interested in the medical field.
Alisa Head is one of the clinic's volunteers. He says that balancing volunteering with other responsibilities is challenging, but well worth it.
I have to wake up to get to work at 3:45 in the morning, so I get off at 2, I come here. So it's kind of hard. It's one day out of the week. You can always manage that.
The Habitat for Humanity's Restore is a place where people can donate furniture and household goods. Dave Baylor is a local lawyer who volunteers at the Restore and finds his work extremely rewarding.
It's kind of like mowing the grass. You get done, you feel good about it. It's a job that when you finish it, you see the results, And in addition, on top of it, you're giving back to the community.
People can come to the Restore and get doors and tables like these at reduced prices. Doors and tables that would be in a landfill without this place and its volunteers.
Many of the Restore volunteers are people sentenced to community service. Kyle Bonowski says it can be an eye-opening experience.
These people who might not have, had the opportunity had they not gotten in trouble, and then they come here and do their hours and then realize it's actually something that's really cool to do.
Here in Austin, it shouldn't be hard to find a place to give your time. Garrett Sanders, Texas News Watch. Death, a word that means it's over. But at Our Lady of the Rosary Cemetery in Georgetown, people can give back to the environment even after they have taken their final breath. Patrons here can choose to have their loved ones buried in a biodegradable casket. Assistant Director Sinclair Ender says this just makes sense.
If you have a simple wood casket or even a shroud, it encourages returning to the earth. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
This entire casket, except for the metal screws, is biodegradable, including the bed sheets and the pillowcases, which are all made out of wood fiber.
Families can expect to pay 1/3 of the cost of a regular funeral by going green. Robin Schneider is the executive director of the Texas Campaign for the Environment in Austin.
Really make them not want to be a hypocrite in their death of the kind of the overconsumption and the artificial stuff.
The plots at Our Lady of the Rosary are all different. Each family is encouraged to turn their loved one's place into a flower bed with its own personality. Sisters Pat Ward and Caroline DeChelle say this is the reason they chose this cemetery to bury their mother.
The peacefulness of this place, it's so beautiful. There's a lot of symbolism around here with the resurrection cross and just walking around the nature, the birds.
Green burials are just another way people are trying to give back to the earth, even from beyond the grave. Garrett Sanders, Texas News Watch. Americans across the country are using the convenience of home to get a total body workout. The at-home workout P90X is the most money-making fitness DVD of all time. UT students Taylor Pruitt and Kyle Wiggum just started the program 3 weeks ago.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I've been this sore before after not working out for a year and then going to hit the gym, but then I'm only that sore for about a week. You get that sore every single day.
Many people across the nation are buying home fitness DVDs like P90X in hopes that it will turn this into this.
Dave Gooden is a columnist for Ironman magazine, a world bodybuilding champion, and a trainer at Hyde Park Gym here in Austin. He says that there are drawbacks to in-home fitness.
You have the accountability that you have with the trainer, if you're coming in and I'm checking your weight and I'm taking your measurements and make sure that your form is staying perfect. One surefire way to get injured is to have sloppy technique.
Brooke Jones is the gym's owner and says that programs like P90X are good because they get people thinking about fitness, but they aren't his style.
If I'm not going to be in here, I'd rather go ride my bicycle or swim outside. There's no way I'm going to sit in front of a television and do anything.
Whether it's pumping iron in the gym or at home, people are finding more ways to get in shape. Garrett Sanders, Texas News Watch.
Immediately put that on top of the birdhouse, and I would.
Audrey Ackley is, in her own words,
Sunday, 99 plus 1. One entry.
She lives in Palmer Woods Nursing Home and gets a very special visitor several times throughout the week. Kate Forrest is a caregiver for Visiting Angels here in Austin, and when she talks about Audrey, her eyes light up.
One of my ladies just turned 100, and it was exciting because she is just, she has one disability that is obvious. However, we worked around that, and we make her family gifts for Christmas, we make cards, we just do all kinds of things. She does puzzles. She's 100. She wins me in dominoes every single time we play, and I don't let her.
Since Audrey is so hard of hearing, Kate and others have to communicate with her by writing on a marker board. It takes some time, but once Audrey finishes reading, she always responds with a smile.
What did she get? Where did she get the turkey? Outside.
On your farm? Uh-oh.
Margaret Clement is the owner of Visiting Angels. She chose this job because of her experience helping her mother. It's even a family business. She co-owns Visiting Angels with her husband, and her daughter is also a partner. Her goal is to help the elderly, but she knows that they help her as well.
It is so rewarding to know that you've made a difference. So many of the elderly are isolated. The kind of things we do for them, they don't really want to ask their children to start being their caregivers. And knowing that you made a difference, and we sit with a lot of people and help them pass from this life to wherever they go after this, and it is unbelievably rewarding knowing that you help them pass with dignity and finish the life with dignity.
And the job is not always easy.
There are some people that are more difficult than others, and those people are basically frightened, feel a sense of being out of control, are feeling their losses.
But it's that personal touch that makes all the difference.
When I'm sitting across the table or in a chair next to one of my clients, we're just talking, and they tell me their stories. I know how to hatch chickens in the kitchen of a farmhouse.
Whether it's looking at pictures on the internet, coloring a sun, or just sitting quietly, whatever Audrey needs, Kate is there. And she plans to be there, not just for a client, but for a friend, for the rest of the time they have together. Garrett Sanders, reporting.